Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Sonnet, the owner and creator behind Sonnet's Garden Blooms, and in today's video, you guys are getting a thrift to treasure. So I went into my stash and I grabbed a few items and I flipped them in today's video. For project one, when I was thrifting with Connie, she actually found this and she's like, "Did you see the dough bowl?" I'm like, "No, I didn't." She's like, "It was a little bit too much for me." So it was $7.99 and it was a little expensive, but I just loved it, you guys. I love the shape of it and the color was not bad. But what I decided to do was paint it the color crinoline. I wanted to paint it and then distress it back to have that grain come through. And if you haven't used DIY's paint before, it is amazing for this especially. So this is a beautiful color. I think it's going to slide in my booth just perfect. I am using the Perfectionist paintbrush from DIY as well. And these paintbrushes, Debbie Beard designed to go with the DIY paint. So what I am doing is I am going to apply one even coat of the crinoline over the entire piece. I'm going to let it dry, then I'm going to come back and I am going to apply a second coat. And then once that is dry, then we are going to distress it. Now that it's dry, I am taking a damp rag and I am going to wet distress it. And what I do is just over all the raised surfaces, I just rub randomly here and there. Once I hit some of those, then all the flat surfaces, again, just random rubbing, just where there would be natural distressing. And once you finish that, then you're gonna let this dry and then you'll wanna seal it. Now, the reason I use wet distressing so often is with the clay-based paint, there is a lot of dust when you sand it with a piece of sandpaper or even on my, hand sander. It just causes a lot of dust. By doing it this way, it really gives you better control over your distressing and really cuts down on that dust. Now that it's dry, I'm using DIY's clear wax, and this provides the piece with a really buttery smooth finish. I'm using a waxing brush and I am just going to rub wax over the entire piece. I'm going to let it soak in really well, and then I'm going to come back and I am going to wipe away the excess. I'm just using a piece of paper towel and wiping away the excess wax. And then after that, it does take approximately 30 days for the wax to completely cure. This was just a simple, easy way to transform this dough bowl, and I love the way it looks. For project 2, anytime I'm out thrifting, I am always looking for little crates, and when I saw this one and it was only $5.99, I definitely grabbed it. I was initially going to just sand off the apples that were painted on here, but then I decided to use the new cottage color called Barn Quilt, and I thought this was the perfect red for this crate. So I am applying one even coat of the Barn Quilt color all over the piece. I'm going to let that dry and then come back and apply a second coat. The one thing with the cottage colors, I do recommend that you stir them often. So I just keep that little stir stick near me and I just go back in and I give it a good stir. There is a top coat built in, and sometimes after you let it sit for a bit, the top coat somewhat separates. So I just give it another good stir. I've been extremely impressed, you guys, with the cottage colors and how well they hold up. Once it dries, it is tough, you guys. Very scratch resistant. I actually painted a piece of silver, or like the silver, it was a silver platter actually is what I painted, and I painted it anvil, and everyone was like, no way is that going to stay. It totally did. I did the scratch test on it and it was not coming off. So I've been very, very impressed with this. Now, what I had to do on this is after I applied the first coat, I did go back and apply a second coat, and then just to be on the safe side, I applied a third coat. This does have a self-leveler built in, so there is virtually no brush strokes. Next, I'm grabbing the stamp set called Mercantile, and you guys, I have been having so much fun with this one. I decided I was going to use the grain sack stripe, and I was going to put a stripe around the whole exterior of this crate. I am using the permanent white ink from IOD, and basically it's as simple as inking it up, and you just want to make sure you have a really good coverage. And then after it's completely inked up, the key is once you decide to lay your stamp down, you have to go all in. There's no laying it down, picking it up, or anything like that. So what I do is I line it up or figure out exactly where I want it. I then lay it down and I hold it firmly, and then I rub all over. And that's the key. You want to make sure you have just rub very lightly over the entire stamp so you get a really good imprint. And that was perfect. I'm going to do the exact same thing for the remaining sides. The one thing that I started lining this up, I'm like, oh, I didn't measure any of it. I probably should have measured, but I eyeballed it and I did a pretty good job eyeballing it all the way around, and all of them really did match up pretty good. The next thing I'm going to do is take that center stamp, and I want to stamp that on both of the ends. I'm using black IOD permanent ink, and I'm just going to ink up that center stamp, and I just am very careful as not to get it on the lettering on either side. And once I ink that up, I'm going to do the exact same thing that I did with the white stripes. I'm going to line it all up. Once I decide to go in, I'm just going to lay it down, hold it, and then again, rub it all over, and then lift it up, and the stamp turned out perfect. I decided I was going to use the quality grains, and I was going to stamp quality on one side, grain on the other. And if you do purchase a new set of stamps, some tips for you is it does have a backing on the set of stamps. You just peel the backing off, take a very light grit sandpaper and rub all over your stamps. That is called seasoning, and it helps have the ink actually adhere to the stamps, and you definitely want to do that. A lot of people get nervous about rubbing the stamps with the sandpaper. It does not hurt them at all. You'll definitely want to do that, and then they are ready to stamp. A couple options with your stamp sets, you can leave them right on this backer and then you can peel them off and put them on thin mounts, or you can stamp directly like I am doing here. Another option is like with the crockery set of stamps, I just actually cut all of those out and I just use them when I need to. It already has that backing on there. So that's a couple ways to use your stamps. And for storage, I use the IOD envelopes and they work perfect. For project 3, I thrifted this recently, and you guys, it was such a cute little washboard, and it was not that expensive. So I thought all I need to really do is take off this bow, and I can put it right into my booth. And then I was looking at it, and that is when I determined that it was a little dark for my liking, and so I decided to brighten things up. First, I decided to add a piece of the decoupage paper to the actual washboard, that silver washboard portion. And I had this extra chunk of Waitlist decoupage paper. And I thought this bird was going to be absolutely perfect because I liked how there was a bit of brown in the bird's wings. Before I could lay that paper down though, you guys know how much I like a white background. It just really makes the paper pop, and you do not have to start with a white background. I have heard often that people just like to have the paper blend, and that is perfectly okay. So whatever way you like doing it, go ahead and either start with that white background if you really want it to pop. If you want your paper to blend a little bit, then just apply it as is. But what I'm doing here is I am going to apply one even coat of crinoline from DIY. I'm going to let that dry and then come back and add a second coat. Here it all is with 2 coats, and I already love how bright it is. And now I am going to figure out exactly what I want on here. How much of the bird, like where do I want it to start? And I want to make sure that I have a bit of excess because you have to take into account each of those ridges for that scrubber board when you start applying the decoupage paper. So I cut out the chunk that I want, and then now let's start applying it. I line it all up, I pull the paper back, and now I'm using my favorite go-to decoupage medium, liquid patina from DIY. And the key for this is you just want to apply a nice even layer. The other thing I'm doing is I'm taking my misting bottle and I am misting the decoupage paper, and that really helps activate the fibers in the paper and again helps eliminate a lot of those wrinkles. Now I am working from the top down. I always like to use what is called a starter strip. This does a couple things. It really holds your paper in place and it gives you more control, and again helps you eliminate a lot of the wrinkles. So I lay that liquid patina down, I line up the paper exactly where I want it, and then I start with that very top ridge and I take my paintbrush and I just start spreading it out. I make sure that I'm working out all the wrinkles and that I'm then getting it into that next little groove, and I do that from the very top and I work my way down, and I just take it one by one all the way down, and once I get to where you can see where it's still wet, I add a little bit more of that liquid patina and then I continue to work down. Again, I missed it just to again activate those fibers in that paper, and this was such a quick and easy process to finish this off. Now, after I let it dry overnight, I came back with my X-Acto knife and I X-Actoed all the excess paper off. I thought I was recording that, but I did not hit the record button. So after I got that all off, I am then taking my liquid patina and I am going back around the edges and just making sure I add just a little bit more liquid patina just to ensure that all the area on the edge is completely adhered down. Then I'm also taking the liquid patina, and that can be used as a top coat as well. And I am applying just one even coat of liquid patina over the entire piece to completely seal it. If you've never worked with DIY paint before, it can reactivate with water. So after you are done applying it, you need to seal it with some type of top coat, whether that be DIY's Big Top, the liquid patina, any of the waxes, or any other type of top coat. I hope I've inspired you guys to go out and flip something. If you don't have anything to flip, head on over to the thrift store, grab a few items and completely transform them. I had so much fun in today's video, and my favorite by far was the clothes scrubbing board. Oh my gosh, I love that bird. You guys know how much I love birds. I just feel like it was the absolute perfect fit for that board. And actually, at first I was just gonna leave it as is and toss it in my booth. And then I'm like, I need to brighten this up. It just seems so dark. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. I can't wait to hear what you guys think. On Friday, I did mention what's going to be happening this week. Today, I officially started folding my maker's boxes. So that is a process in itself. I'm almost done folding those. And then tomorrow, the packing officially begins. So all the prep work for the boxes I have been doing all month long, and now the packing officially starts. If you haven't heard, I do have a maker subscription box, and I did launch it in June. I had a stretch goal, you guys, and I missed it just by a few. So there are a few boxes available for the July makers box. I have a wait list out there. If you want to get on the wait list, it will be in the description below. On June 27th, which is, I believe, Thursday at 7 a.m., I am sending an email out to everyone on that wait list, and you are going to get first dibs at those few spots. Once they are full, July will officially close, and I will be shipping all the boxes out. I'm hoping to get them, well, okay, so it has to be, everything is going to be shipped by July 2nd, because I am heading up north after that for a little extended vacation. It's the week that we always take off, and we do all kinds of fun family activities, and I am really looking forward to it. So after that, I come back, and I am going to be in town just for a little bit, and then I'm heading to the Haven conference. So I am going to have a very, very busy July, you guys. But Friday's video, I plan on doing another thrift to treasures, so be watching for that. I think I might be going a little bit more colorful, but we'll see. I have been tossing around some ideas. Now, if you guys are new to my channel and you haven't done so yet, hit that subscribe button, turn on your bell notifications so every Monday and Friday when I release a video, you'll be notified. And if you liked today's video, give me a thumbs up, and I can't wait to hear in the comments what you guys think. Have yourselves a great week, and we'll see you Friday. Bye.